Told that we have both representatives from either team ready for the face-off. So, gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We've got Fixer Reloaded. Hey, sir. I don't think we've seen you here for quite some time. And Mr. Man, welcome back as always.
How's it going?
Pretty good. All right, Fixer, let's start with you. So, Rude Awakening, not here. What's up?
He's just been quite busy with real life and stuff. You know, I think he recently got a new job, so that's kind of draining him. And we're kind of being forced to pick up the slack now, since he was mainly the think guy. You know, he thought everything out. He did all the strats and all that stuff. So with him gone, you know, we're all trying to pick it up.
All right.
Who's calling?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, who's calling for top tier? Can you tell us?
You guys will have to find out.
All right.
All right. That's a huge vote of confidence right there. All right, Mr. Man. You guys have kind of been struggling a little bit off and on so far this season. Some poor results, a few decent ones, but overall, you know, there's no argument. You guys are struggling compared to seasons past. Where are you guys at right now going into the second round robin? Do you think you're on track to turning it around? Or are you still on the struggle bus? Where are you at?
I think our team overall, we have a lot of problems that we need to address. Mainly right now, it's just about addressing the biggest problems and trying to get as many points as we can so that we can hopefully make it into playoffs and, you know, go from there. But, yeah, right now we're just working on fixing as many of the big problems as we can.
I have a question for you, Mr. Man, because I decided to bank and bet on you guys today. Earlier we had some predictions you might have heard. I don't know. James here has picked top tier 5-3. I've picked Aquatic AM60s 5-3. So, Mr. Man, why am I right?
You know, we've upset people in the past. You know, depending on how the maps go. I think if we get an early lead, then that definitely helps us a lot mentally, and we'll be able to finish off the match. So.
All right, fair enough. Fixer Reloaded, top tier. Any final thoughts for Mr. Man or Aquatic AM60s?
All I gotta say is good luck, man.
All right, Mr. Man, any final thoughts for Fixer Reloaded in top tier?
Good luck. Have fun.
All right, we'll see you guys on the battlefield. All right, so that coming out of top tier,
yep.
Who's calling? We'll find out.
Yep. Big old question mark. And then Aquatic telling us if they get some early wins, they'll be fine. This is something that we've kind of noticed before, momentum-based, where if you're already doing well, they'll keep doing well. If they can't quite get a good start, if this goes 1-1 a few times, they'll probably start getting a little bit unfocused, tired maybe, and things might not continue going Aquatic's way. And top tier is one of those teams that once they seem to perceive weakness or smell blood in the water, as it were, they just go.
Now, one thing to note is filling in the captain's role is Muriel. He's the one that's taken over that responsibility for the team right now.
Clerically, though, I only knew he was doing it clerically, as in, like, end of the day replays and stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. In Rude's absence, he's the one that stepped up and is taking care of all of that.
But does that necessarily mean he's calling, is the question?
Well, that's the thing. I said he's taking over as captain. That means he's taking over as caller. It could be two separate people.
Huh?
Well, a lot of teams are set up like that. You have, say, Elevate. You have comps out of game, wall hacks in game. Same thing with this. So we'll have to find out. We'll try to do a listen in a little bit with top tier and see what's going on. Now, lineups coming in for the first game on Ruinberg. 2 mice, 2 5As, and 3 bat chats for top tier. Aquatic AM60s, 2 IS7s, 2 5As, and 3 bat chats. We head into the first game. Let's find out if Aquatic AM60s can plug enough of those holes in the bottom of their M60s. They struggle along across the Lakeville.
Yeah, I get you, buddy. All right, we're going to jump in game in just a minute. But with these lineups, the mouse on attack, 2 of them, versus 2 IS7s on defense. Those IS7s are probably going down the 0 line, right?
You would have to think, or at least one of them. The problem is a lot of these teams have gotten really good at catching out tanks, pushing down there. And with this lineup that top tier have, the 5As, the bat chats, I would not be surprised to see them get very aggressive in the south.
You might be right with that. Marsh 166 is heading in the direction to go 0 line, while Big Cheese is headed towards... Is he going Fountain or mid-road? Looks like he might stop up at Fountain for early spotting. That makes a lot of sense. From there, he's got a decent hull down, and we've got Marsh in the IS7 chasing up Felix 5A. 2 bat jets heading way south. Now, Marsh, it looks like these IS7s are actually going to play somewhat defensively, to which I have to say skeptically. I feel like stronger choices may have been in order. Maybe not. I could be wrong. I could be being too harsh in this case. Well, Batchats get spotted in the south. They do not spot anything in return. Everything from top tier. Oh, as I say that, there goes one of the mouse. That's it's not a Kako. It's Loptov mid-road. He gets spotted finally, as well as Mariel and Fixer Reloaded. So right now, Aquatic thinks everything's about south.
We're going to see a very similar play to what we saw out of Teal Team 6 here. They have these tanks in the middle road, and these Batchats are streaking along in the back here. So keep an eye on them, as I expect them to push into this A6 village at the same time this mouse gets to this cap. If they can go for that pick onto Pupil, they can open up this north cap and really try to bait them as they come back. And at this point, Jojo is not spotted. They do not know that this Batchat's here. He's actually going to stop by cap, so choosing not to push in.
Instead actually taking a slightly harder to spot route. No, they're going to get on cap.
They're going to get on cap.
Oh, fast cap. Okay. I expected a little screening from Exits and Joe Jackie. Normally you would expect one of them to go past so that spotting can happen, but in this case it might not be necessary because of the way mid's going right now. Marsh is going to be moving around the backfield. IS-7 actually working out away here. It's mobility coming into play. But I don't know if he's going to be able to close the distance towards cap and get the resets.
Well, and here's the thing: is Pupil, he only is going to have the shots on that mouse. The two Batchats, they're tucked in nice and tight behind that mouse, and so right now, Pupil's going to have to commit, and the guns are set up to punish that. Now the Batchat is coming in the background. That's Morphic and Marsh. Another shot going to track, and look at the time, 5 seconds. He's going to get one reset. That's only a partial reset. They need to find a shot onto the Batchats. He's going to get one more chance. The guns are probably going to line up on Pupil here as he crosses out into the open. Exits, sticks his neck out, gets reset. 17 seconds on the cap.
When
there's everyone reset. Now this is where top tier needs to respawn. They have this team where they want them, and the focus fires are coming through. Batchats are opening up. Pupil should go down with one more connection. He does. But now the Batchats are pushing in. They know that these Batchats have emptied their clips onto Pupil. This is the time for them to push.
And there's Giggles moving in, but he immediately gets whacked. And there he goes. Mr. Man now here with his own eyes on Akako. One more shelf will finish him off. And there he goes. He finally gets Akako. Not bad. Not bad play. He's also not spotted, I noticed, as Morphic moves in. Nicely played. Now Mr. Man's spotted.
Delph's reloading and Fix Reloaded just pushing in against Felix, and there really aren't too many guns in position to support. Morphic's down on the low ground. Mr. Man's in the buildings. Big Cheese doesn't have a shot, so Felix is all alone here, 2 versus 1, with a full Batchat.
Oh, and a bounce from Exits is actually going to let Morphic get one extra shell out. Very nice for top tier, as right now only 2 tanks are alive. Only 2 are left alive against top tier. Better positioning from top tier. Aquatic had to expose way too many tanks at inopportune times to try and get resets. Ultimately weren't able to get a real cohesive strategy going as a response.
Not how I saw that game being played out, but effective from top tier.
Effective. A lot of that came down to Aquatic's response. Aquatic responded in a way that allowed them to spot the cap, get some resets, but the problem was tanks really just showed up when they could. It wasn't like anyone grouped up or crossfires were able to get set up. No one got into the backfield to be able to create a crossfire. So the real struggle for Aquatic there was trying to figure out that proper response, and they weren't ready for it. There were way too many tanks down south for them to be able to respond appropriately, and the tanks that had approached into the middle of the map threw Aquatic off. They thought this was going to be a south attack, old school style, but once they discovered that it wasn't, it was a bit too late for them to do anything appropriate.
Yeah, well, and the positioning of Pupil was a big factor there. Because he was playing on the south end of that town instead of spotting through one of the bushes, he never saw the Batchats approach that village. And now, even if the Batchats had pushed in, he still wouldn't have spotted them. Now, top tier don't know that. However, the pathing they took, they were not spotted, and they got the cap without taking any damage at all. And then they were able to hide behind the mouse there, and they were able to keep that cap pressure up, and that...
That's why it's important to spot the north.
Yeah, you have to have that early warning there. It's not... A lot of teams try to go with the philosophy it's enough to just have one tank up there so you don't have to fight as hard to retake it and you can get those resets. But the thing that was underestimated there was just the intel. They didn't know what was where. They didn't have that early warning to move tanks around. There was just all of a sudden 3 tanks on cap, and Pupil didn't have a choice but to push in. Now looking at the damage, Big Cheese doing what he can and getting a lot of damage off, but 60 fantasy points, then Leptev here doing another 63.
On the second page, things start to really fall off, and Giggles is probably one to look at. He got whacked, did not have a chance really to deal much damage at all. Really unfortunate when that happens to a Bat Chat. But we're going to get ready for the next battle. We're going to flip sides here on Ruinberg, and we're going to see how top tier defends with 2 Mouse, 3 5As, a Fosh B, and a Bat Chat versus Aquatic M60 with a 50B played by Felix, of course. 2 IS7s, 2 5As, and 2 Bat Chats. Now, the damage output from Aquatic's lineup is concerning to me versus the lineup I'm seeing from top tier games. With those 2 Mouse, the Fosh, everything that's out there, am I right to be a little bit worried that this attack might just kind of fall on its face, or might just really not be able to open the doors?
It really depends upon how aggressive Aquatic are. Sometimes just by overwhelming force and good focus fire, the lack of tanks with high DPM can be negated, and you can really make it work for them. And the right tanks in the right positions. It was a talk we were going to have earlier, but we ran out of time about.
Yeah.
There are 2 types, we've talked about it before. There are 2 types of tanks that you bring. There's tanks that are just overall really round balanced, or there are tanks that are specialty tanks that do one thing really, really well. But then you have the subcategory of that is that one tank that does something really, really well worth bringing. And that seems to be what both teams are opting for, especially with that Fosh B and the IS7s here.
Yep. And out of the opening moves, we see a little spotting from Muriel. He's able to find quite a few tanks from Aquatic on the attack, and that allows for top tier to find their appropriate response. They're going to be moving heavy tanks into position. We've noticed possibly a 50B, at least Delta suspects one, right down the F-road, which he's called correctly. Now he finds out that he was correct, and there is in fact 50B out there. Fortunately, no connection from him, and Delta's going to wiggle, see what he can do to avoid another shell.
Fixer's actually going to push in, start simping, and now these 5As are just going to go forward. They know that 50B is out, and so they're going to push forward, trying to find the shots on the cap. Top tier have just left a single Mouse in that village. It's going to be a hard tank to kill. Fosh B behind them, ready to punish, but they need to make sure they do it right. And the 5As, they're just moving straight up this town, straight into the side of the tanks from Aquatic M60s. Now the focus fire needs to be key here, as Leptev starting to take a lot of damage from these Chinese heavy tanks, firing those heat shells into this giant German behemoth.
Yep, he really needs to work on that angle, but not able to do it. Just too much pressure, and he takes plenty of damage, blocks about 1,000. And we'll have to see where this one goes, because now there's 1 tank up. Hit points right now look about even, so we'll have to see what the next kill is, what that crucial next move. There goes Fixer. That's a 2nd gun off the battlefield for top tier.
Now HP is basically even, despite 2 guns alive still for Aquatic M60s, so top tier, if they want to turn this one around, they need to pick up a couple kills quickly.
That they do. And if they can't do that, this will be going in favor of Aquatic. They just need to wait a few moments, and that'll happen. There we go. Exits nearly reloaded. Once he is, I'm expecting that's where top tier has any chance of coming back, simply by that damage potential. And he fires 1.
Now Muriel is off in the town in the distance here. He is going to find a shot onto Felix, gets the kill.
That's good. Something you can work with. 3,000 to 5,000. Exits, moves in, Giggles flanking. Big Cheese moves up, gets himself killed. Nicely played by Exits.
3v5 right now. Muriel needs to make these last 3 shots really count if they want to have a chance in this fight. Trying to find a shot onto Morphic here, but that's going to be a Kako going down. Exits getting 1 shot off, only has 2 left in his clip. And this is a seemingly impossible task left for top tier.
Whoa, what is Exits going for? Nicely played from Aquatic. Muriel trying to throw a few shells sniped out there. His last one alive, 3k damage to deal, 1,400 hit points himself.
And just like I said before this battle started, you can sometimes having less DPM doesn't really matter as long as you go for that raw aggression, and that's exactly what M60s did there. They just drove straight up into that village. They took the fight to a top tier. They caught them off guard. They got all their guns together. The coordination from Aquatic M60s was near perfect.
The response from top tier was not quick enough to really stop them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what you go for when you go for those raw, aggressive tactics. Now, blatant aggression without coordination is not going to get you anywhere. But well-coordinated, raw aggression hitting 1 spot will do enough to confuse your opponent and surprise them and put them on their back foot. And if you can keep that momentum up, you can do exactly what Aquatic M60s did here, which just snowballs out of effect.
I believe the phrase is violence of action.
Yeah. Now, some people mistake that for just raw aggression, just driving at your opponents, which isn't the case. You have to have that element of coordination there.
You have to, yeah.
It has to be controlled chaos.
Yes. Make the engagements happen where you want them, and if you do them swiftly enough and you know what you're about, you can generally clean things up, deal with whatever improvisation you have to. And what's Muriel going to do now?
Oh, there's only one tank on cap. The rest of Aquatic M60s are going to be spread out across that whole Delta Village and the Zero line, just waiting for him to show up somewhere, and Muriel just chilling out right now.
Yep, these are the positions where everyone's just waiting for Muriel to show up. We'll see. We'll see where they go. But Muriel seems to be waiting for someone to just kind of come hunting for him. He knows the tanks from Aquatic are low enough health, so he can, you know, maybe pick up a free kill. But Muriel also knows that letting this cap out is probably what's going to have to happen. I don't know. There's 25 seconds left. If he goes the direction he's going now, I'm not sure he'll be able to reset cap in time.
Just taking the unspotted approach, trying to get to that middle ridge quickly as he can, but I don't think he realizes that there's going to be tanks on top of this high ground that should spot him here any second.
That's kind of what I'm waiting for. He should get spotted, and once that happens, like, if he decides to run on in, he'll have 2 seconds in order to make a connecting shot.
Snap it off.
One.
Gonna find Morphic. Actually bounces one.
All right, there we go. Gets a reset, but bounces one onto Morphic. Focus fire comes in, and where's that last shell? Where's that last shell?
Giggle's missing there.
There we go.
Finally, Morphic picks it up.
That's Aquatic tying it up.
1-1.
All right. So Aquatic loses their first battle. They win battle number 2. We move on to Murro now.
And once again, attackers on Ruinberg. It's completely backwards from how it was the last couple of seasons, but the switch to 770, having that extra HP, the extra gun seems to be what it needed to kind of switch it around and really push it in favor of the attacking side.
Mm-hmm. So now we're moving on to Murro. And, well, the way these guys are playing right now, I'm really liking the way Aquatic was playing in the brawls. They seem to be a little bit more comfortable, top tier. They seem to have some strats up their sleeves, but there does seem to be something a little shaky with them.
Well, I mean, when you have a presence like Root in that team, you do have to remember that top tier, I believe, right now is our youngest on average team right now, just across the overall ages. So the player, you know, when you have Root in the team, the older, more mature of the group, the one that has the coordination and the experience, when you remove him from it, things can get a little bit chaotic. So we'll have to see if they can pull it together. Now, Muriel doing what he can, even at the end there, picking up some extra damage. 3,300 damage, 72 fantasy points. Morphic, though, 3 kills, doing what he can for his team. Now on the second page here, Felix in that 50B, 2k damage, 44 fantasy points. Big Cheese, another 2k. Delth, Fixer, Jojo, and Leptev all on the bottom there for top tier, not really able to get into the fight much. And Leptev in the mouse really just got focused out pretty early on.
Yeah, he got torn apart. So now we move on to Murro. So with Murro, very much a 1-on-1 map. We are expecting a lot of slower plays, probably some passive scouts in the southeast, little T100 deal right there. Part of me wants top tier to do something crazy. Part of me doesn't expect anything crazy from Aquatic.
Remember the last time we saw top tier play Murro?
Yeah.
If they can bring those sort of strats, if, you know, I'm assuming they've practiced them a good bit, they understand them, it's not just Rude just coming up with them on the fly, I think they'll be just fine here, but they really have to make those work. Now, Aquatic M60s on their hands, they have to attack, and to do that, they're bringing an i7, a mouse, a 5A, a Sturv, Mr. Man playing the Sturv, no surprise there, and 3 Batchats. Top tier, an i7, 3 5As, Batchat. Smiley Rage being subbed in, and an M48 Patton, and Muriel playing the T100.
Okay, nothing crazy there. Patton for vision, and damage output hasn't been horrible on the Patton players.
High shell velocity does make it nice at long range.
Yep, easier to shoot those bats as they run around. But only 1 T100. An Aquatic on attack. I mean, on attack, you don't really need the T100. It's not really going to do much for you, except on defense, where Muriel has chosen one of the more forward and well-known passive hiding spots in a bush. So just pay attention to that for now. He's got great vision on the cap. Huge blind spot to the south because of all the bush cover and hard cover. So there's a slight disadvantage in that, but ultimately it's not going to kill you. So We'll move on and look to the north.
And Aquatic AM60s seemingly worried about some sort of forest push because they have not spotted the tanks from top tier. So they're being real slow clearing out that forest. In fact, they're moving all their tanks over there because they seem to be worried about that.
Yep. And what we'll have is probably a little bit of there we go. Come on, Giggles, you can do the push. Share his extra horses. And Giggles is going to push Marsh up to speed. It's a great way to get I-7s and other heavy tanks there a little faster. Is just get a little choo-choo train of death and use that extra horsepower from the bad chats to make that I-7 go a little bit faster. You're seeing he's really booking it right now. And small toll to pay, 10 points.
Reminds me of some old games on Himmelsdorf using the 5100s to push the S3s up the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Get them there faster.
That's important, especially when you're playing for time. In this case, what I expect Aquatic is doing is they're just trying to get that IS-7 into position to leave once they realize it's safe, and probably back off to go be annoying somewhere else.
I actually don't know that that's what they're going to go for. They pulled all their tanks out of the 3-4 lane. If you look at that, they had the tanks there early, but they've joined them in the forest, which to me signals that they're going to stay more towards that south 2 cap, because why? They were never together to make that push, so why move your tanks away from there if that's what you're going for?
I see what you're saying. You might be right, actually, but that depends on the mouse. If that mouse keeps going south, I totally agree. If not, and the mouse kind of stays around his grid lines there, maybe not, maybe. I'm not sure, you know? But if you head south, that's definitely what the plan is. So watching Big Cheese. Yeah, okay, you're right, James. You called it. The mouse going into that position is the big tell.
Yeah, the strat they set up for was set up for early aggression, trying to make sure that they don't push just blindly down that 1, 2, 3 line, trying to catch them out maybe. But the problem is that once they cleared that 7-8 line, they pulled them out of that north area, which to me says that they're not planning to retake it, because that's why you leave tanks up there to start, so you don't have to go through that painstaking process of retaking a dug-in position. Yeah. And by giving it up, to me that signals that they're not planning to use it at all at this point.
All right, so now, big question is, can Aquatic get onto cap without getting spotted? Mr. Man approaches, stops, begins cap. He's got camo net and binoculars, so once he stops for a few seconds, there we go. He spots Lop. And Lop takes some fire, 497, not bad there. And a little blind fire coming towards the cap even. And what we're going to be looking for is that T100, James. See if he's going to be forced to move. As right now he is trying to see what that blind angle is onto Mr. Man. That's his job right now, figuring out why can't I see this guy. Although Big Cheese finally gets himself spotted in the mouse.
Yeah, Smiley Rage actually takes a shot as well on the patent down there in the forest.
Yeah, nicely positioned by Mr. Man. He can see everything.
Now, Risky here coming out of top tier. Batchat pushing up that the one line by himself.
Probably
now,
going
there's
around
nothing,
for a flank.
There's nothing there right now, but they don't know that. That's why part of me thinks it's risky. You know,
it's a necessary
risk. Tank. Yeah,
yeah.
It's a gamble they're willing to take, because if, say, he came across a couple tanks, they haven't spotted. The reason it's risky is they haven't spotted many of the tanks. They've only spotted the mouse at this point. They don't know where the rest of the guns are past some blind fire. So him pushing in here, he doesn't know that there's, say, 3 Batchats sitting in a bush back in, you know, A1. It's been done before. Big ball of cheese, but it would have gotten him dead, and they would have been able to leave before the rest of the guns.
There, Muriel moves. Out in the open, he spots Mr. Man, forces a reset on the cap. Mr. Man booking it. Oh, he barely gets out alive. He's got only 377 hit points. Nicely played by top tier. Very risky. Muriel takes a lot of damage for that, but it does save this battle for top tier for now.
Muriel driving like a madman to get away there.
Yeah, has to. Nicely played. All of a sudden, there's no real warning. There's no huge heads up that top tier gave away, and just Muriel goes. It was just nicely done. Aquatic probably wasn't truly ready for that.
Yeah, it's just a firing battery that top tier have on top of this hill, just ready to blind fire the cap. 4 Chinese heavy tanks, well 3, and then the I-7 and then the patent down in the forest. So even if they don't have a line of sight, just by sheer volume, they should be able to find at least, you know, a couple resets. You'd have to think if their coordination is good enough.
Yep. Now we've got someone else on cap again. It's going to be Giggles this time. A nice and healthy bat chat. Reasonably stealthy. He's got his coffee and croissant ready to go. So nice and stealthy, should be just fine. He'll be safe here for a little while until Muriel or somebody decides to make a run for it. Although maybe some blind fire could get a reset. That's all you're looking for. Alcaco spotted. And that bat chat in the north looks like he's still trying to move around.
Have to see if anyone's even close.
No, no one's even close. No one's even close. Yeah, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Although that bat chat is starting to get into the backfield. And in a moment, he's probably gonna be the one expected to get some spotting or something. Once that happens though. That'll be when this devolves or evolves, whatever you want to look at it. Is that a good change or a bad one? Into a nice big brawl. We'll see. There's Muriel moving out in the open. He is spotted. Everyone's holding their fire.
The spots yet. They do find Giggles, and all the tanks for top tiers lining up their shots. Gonna start focusing off the fire. Giggles taking a brunt of the damage. Not enough to kill him though, and they still haven't found Mr. Man. And now Muriel's dead. A lot of the lights are gonna come down to Delph. Problem is he's gonna stumble across some tanks here in a second, I think.
Mm-hmm. Just a moment, although he's probably gonna want to back off. That was risky. Giggles inches himself back onto cap. And Big Cheese is making a move. So what is Big Cheese is going to move forward to make sure he can just see what's on that hill.
That might actually be the door that Delph needs, though, to get in behind. Because that mouse has left that position, they have no eyes behind their tanks on cap. So with 15 seconds left, Delph could be the hero right now. He could come in and get those resets.
Maybe so. Jump back and see what's happening with the Scurv. Delph is spotted. Mr. Man knows. Mr. Man spotted.
They're all spotted. That's going to be
nice
the main
kill.
cap points, and now the focus fire needs to be solid. Delph taking a lot of damage, and he gets focused out, but that's the resets for top tier. Now they can slow it down. 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yep. Big Cheese out in the open, not a whole lot of support. Everyone from Aquatic was distracted trying to deal with that bat chat in the back, and that allows Alcaco to close the distance. Big Cheese starts to try and play a little more conservatively, but is probably a bit too late at this point. He should go down in any minute. Alcaco's on fire, though, and he will burn almost all the way down. 128 left.
They're trying to find some shots onto Marsh right now, who's caught out in the open as Felix does take down Alcaco to finish him off.
Minute 50 left. This has to end in kills now for Aquatic M60.
If they put multiple on cap, they could still do it that way.
Unlikely, though. Very likely you get reset. It's hugely risky at this point.
I agree. It's not the right choice, but it's still an option.
Yeah, just probably won't work. It could bait a push, which would result in kills. Could do that. But probably not going to work so well.
Blup picks up the kill onto Marsh.
And Jojo, I think, is going to be the one to lead the push so that he can see if he can get a reset on cap. If he can, awesome. If he can't, then that will probably be where Aquatic can close this one out. Jojo's spotted, though. So the minute he's available, the minute he's open, this is great for him. It's going to be difficult.
Here come the resets. They just need to get another reset or two to seal this. Now Felix is in a good position here. Picks up the kill onto Jojo.
Nice.
The thing here is that top tier need to keep a tank alive. This isn't over yet. The cap has been reset. They can still go for the kills. Now Smiley Rage is still engaged, still getting shots from distance. Only 2 left alive. Now he needs to make sure that he doesn't die. Now the cap now is pretty much no longer an option. Another couple shots come out there, but they need to make sure that one of them stays alive, and Smiley Rage is the only one fast enough to do that. And Fixer's going to do what he can to stall him out. Now, Smiley Rage is spotted right now. They know where he is. 24 seconds on the clock.
There we go, closing the distance. Felix does not care. Oh, but that bounce is really going to hurt. And Morphic is just going to go for
target priority. Going for the tracking shot, and he gets it, buying that time for Smiley Rage to get away. And that should seal this for top tier. That should be their second win of the match.
Should be 0, and wait for it. Yep, there we go. That's
great execution.
Great execution.
But that is how you burn down a clock. You waste a lot of time. You get the resets. You manage your HP, even if it's not pretty. You do it right. You slow it down. Get the reset after reset. One at a time, they used tanks, threw them away, even though it cost them. They had the rest of their tanks together in a good position. They really punished the tanks from Aquatic M60s. It was how to defend that cap 101 is what that was.
Exactly. And Aquatic did not do an excellent job at making that too difficult. There was always that option for top tier to just send a tank out and get the spotting. And Aquatic, I think, probably wants to do a better job at that next time. They probably want to deal with that screen a little bit better. More vision control and some small other adjustments to their general approach should improve their performance next time.
And Fixer Reloaded, I must say, 4K damage, 1 kill, 90 fantasy points, but also that huge play at the end there to stop the bat chat. You know, opting to not shoot Felix, knowing that he can't catch Smiley Rage, going for the one tank that could. And not only did he put a shot into him, he got the tracking shot, which what was already going to be a low probability that he got there, that pretty much just sealed the deal at that point.
Just good individual play.
Great individual play. Now, on the second page here, Mr. Man only able to get 1 shot at damage, and Muriel also, the other surprising one down there, Guseg. Now, he was in the light tank, did YOLO in. So
his job was spotting.
Yeah, so he'll not getting many fantasy points, sadly, but, you know, did his job and was a key part to really drawing that game out and burning that clock down.
Now we look at the lineups as we're ready for battle number 4 here. Murrow, IS7, Mouse, 5 A's, 2 of them, a Sturf, 2 bat chats for top tier. And on Aquatic, a single Mouse, 5A, 103B, and 4 bat chats. So highly mobile defense with a strong Mouse, 5A, and 103B to make up the core. On the attack, though, that's a lot heavier, a lot more hit points, and less burst, but in a way more alpha.
Yep, and one other thing I will say real quick about that last game was Muriel actually had almost 4,000 spotting damage and 4 spots, so he did his job. Now, looking at it, at these lineups, Aquatic AM60s on defense this time, bringing the Mouse, the S7, and that Sturf, but also bringing some bat chats, and it looks like they're going to set up with very similar to what Elevate did, hammer and anvil type strat. A couple tanks on one flank, big, slow, hard to kill, make sure they don't get bullied around, use the bat chats and mobility to flex around on the other side of the map. Sturf covering the bat chats for the time being.
A little bat chat Muriel in the lead as a scout. I like this little angle he always takes, which is right along the edge of the forest. Slight defilade. You can get a little bit of spotting, play it relatively safe, loop back to defend with the rest of your team, but ultimately not a super aggressive scout. Plays it safe. And that's going to get top tier into the forest without too many issues.
And they're going to go ahead and clear this 9-0 as a team. The Mouse just pushing straight down that 7 line right now. And the bad chats for Aquatic AM60s opting to leave that South K line right now. Just look at the mini-map, you can see them leaving that bottom K5 spot, getting over into the forest along with Mr. Man. Which, right now, what I'm assuming they're going to do is they're going to group up their bat chats. Now they know that just from March's early scouting run, they know that there's likely 9 tanks in the north. They're going to group up all their fast tanks, their bat chats, and clear the north. And so they're going to flip the hammer and anvil around. Before they were ready to you know, put the anvil towards the 1 cap and use the hammer to clear the forest. Now what they're going to do is turn it around. They're going to put the anvil facing the 2 cap and use the hammer to clear out this 1-2 line and maybe take control up there.
Cool. We're going to go ahead and, though, take a listen in with top tier, see what they have to say as they are on the attack, and they have inched closer and closer to cap number 2.
I'm going to come down the 9-9 now.
Yeah, go for it. Move towards the total build one.
Can you start poking vision? See where the light, or see where the bat is?
I'm at the total building.
Merle, Fixer, peek out.
We need spots on north just so they don't do the same thing we did.
Yeah. Moss is the one watching north.
Oh, okay. What do you want the bats doing?
Spotting.
We're gonna try to dig out.
Most
likely. Are you spotted?
No, I didn't.
Nope. Okay, bats, hang around with their Wheezies. Because they're not doing the bush camp. They might just YOLO through a center.
Yeah.
I didn't get spotted when I was doing a loop near the bottom part.
But want me to get on?
Hold on. I'm thinking they're gonna just YOLO us directly with their bats and their moss. They're gonna send our moss as soon as we get something.
They don't have to do anything yet.
Yeah, because we haven't gotten pressure or anything.
We have to do something to gun cap because it's run us.
I go for it.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm getting on the low side where they have their stir.
Don't siege up, that way you can leave fast.
Hey, Wheezy, Hang around the lower side of that mound Hako's on, like F8, whoever's in the forest. Because if they YOLO, they YOLO the freaking E7.
I'm on cap. I'm on cap.
Yeah, I see you.
We want them to let him have it and just YOLO into us, and we just fight him there.
All right, I have my chem up.
Just don't move now. Since you're not in siege.
You have to be like a pro player, just constantly pressing W and S for no reason.
They hit really close to me.
You're blind firing?
Yeah. From the mid-ridge, or from the ridge.
They have nothing spotting, so you won't be able to consistently reset anyway.
Yeah. If they YOLO a bat, we need to delete them fast.
Yeah. The JoJo, yeah.
I spotted. Drive up a little bit, and then...
No.
They're north or no?
I didn't get lit yet.
Batch. 9 line.
My camera.
How many?
They're north. They're all north.
Yeah, that's a lot of bat shots clipping.
I think it's only one.
Yeah, it's only one batch.
Well, only confirmed
Yeah,
one.
I'm about to double pressure.
I got lit inside this building. Yeah,
they're in the middle.
From the window.
They're in the village somewhere.
Oh,
Is it
here's
bad?
one.
That?
Spotted.
I lit him.
No, you're lit.
It's a Sturban monster. We're gonna kill north. Kill north. Kill north. Kill north. Kill north.
Another batch over here. They could have 4
bats.
bats, Smiley. We need to be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, they have another bat there.
They're gonna dump on Smiley a lot.
Play it smart.
I'm
Never
dumping
mind,
off
they're not.
the
They
force.
can't anymore.
Dixer, you make him kill Felix.
Lot, be careful. Don't go running.
Can you guys kill him?
Kill Googles.
Open.
I distract.
No, it does. Calm down.
Okay, we back off.
I have 4, but I got lit.
That's cool. What are those?
They got us off cap, so they're gonna.
I think there was only 2 north. I think there was only 2 bats north.
They'll restart cap.
Okay.
Yeah, you should have still stayed on cap.
We're gonna have to do something otherwise we're on
I
time.
thought they were gonna yellow.
We've only got 4 minutes.
I should have stayed on cap. I've been so free.
Yeah, that's. I don't know why you got off. It's like so sudden.
Jojo told me to leave.
Because they were yellowing. I saw they were yellowing.
I mean, I probably would have done more if I stayed on cap.
Jojo, I'm gonna go over here.
Because he ran away when we clapped him.
Yeah, we need a tank there.
They might have gotten the bat into the bush. I'm on cap again.
Hey, I'm gonna watch the low side of this, okay?
They blind fired me. That was really close.
I went next to you, so they might blind for around where the owl spotted.
They haven't hit me yet.
So what's the play if he does get hit? That way we're ready.
Shoot the moss.
Unless we can't yellow.
Yeah, true.
Constant.
They're gonna yellow the moss down. You need to kill him.
I can't pen him.
Weezy, go for shot slap.
I know, I'm
You
shooting.
need to shoot.
Hako, start going towards the center. But be a smart G-line.
You're gonna move over behind the bushes.
Bat spotted.
No shots on the bat.
Smiley,
Shot him.
move to cover set G-line.
I have 4 shells.
To cover G-line?
Moving up for better shots.
You just shoot the moss when he yellows.
Moss is gonna yellow in.
I'll
Or
track
Hako's
the
gonna
mouse when I
yellow
see him. He's probably gonna have like 2 rev kits, but.
Yeah, just track him. Just track him. Bat's yelling.
Bat yelling.
Smiley, don't worry about north. Worry about south.
Yeah.
Bat. 2 bats yelling. 2 bats
I'm
yelling.
getting shot by the Wheezies.
3 bats yelling. I'm getting off. Tracked. I'm dead.
We killed the bat.
Shots aren't hitting.
We killed the 1-shots. We have to get aggressive on them because
I'm
we
gonna
don't have
die.
time.
I got tracked.
Run the bat.
You need to kill him. Kill the bat.
Yeah, we gotta fight.
Serve
There's a
up.
bat
Mr.
behind
Man.
us as well.
Mr. Man's in siege mode at the top. He's 2 shot.
How many bats do they have lit?
Hey,
3.
Smiley, go towards Sturb.
Yeah, I'm trying.
2 minutes.
They're gonna hide a bat.
No, they have 2. They had 2 bats
we
north
can
and
kill
2
this-
bats south.
If we can kill this,
No, there's 3 bats south, 1 bat north.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, no, the bats on the stirp. Bats on the stirp. Go kill him.
Can you guys shoot him?
No, you just gotta go towards them.
You gotta kill him. So.
You gotta get up underneath them.
Yeah.
Kill Cheese and Felix, and then just not let
We've
the
only
bats.
got a minute and 30.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I bounced that.
Sturb is so broken. He's side on to you guys, but I don't think any of you guys have
No,
shots.
they don't have shots. You were supposed to go under the ridge, probably. Although I guess you would have got shot by the PCs.
Fixer. Go
You have a minute. You have a minute. You gotta go. Go.
Wheezy, 1 shot.
5-8
I
fire.
got 2 bats on me.
Nice, nice, nice.
Pick them
You
up.
gotta kill the bats and smiling.
Oh, there's a bat over here. Bat over here. Bat over here.
Pupil. Pupil
There's
is
4
yelling.
bat down south.
Ah, Smiley's dead.
Yeah, that's 3 bats and a Sturb.
Oh, we don't have time to cap anymore. It's
right.
Well, that was a fun little listen in. I really like to hear the inner workings there of top tier. They try to figure things out. You know, very community style of calling, everyone asking questions. There wasn't really any one person in charge, but a lot of very smart minds trying to work together. And they came pretty close here, but Aquatic AM60s, you know, hats off to them for playing a very aggressive game, changing it up. They took the north, they got some resets in there, they made them worry about it. But once again, sometimes not actually being somewhere is just as effective as being there and doing damage. You know, the thought you can give your opponent, the hey, we have bat shots up here, and then leaving them there, not knowing about it. All of a sudden, that mystery kind of makes top tier second guess. So they have to prep for multiple things. And M60s had already backed all the tanks back away and all the way back down into the south. But top tier had no intel. They didn't know that. So they had to respect that there still could be tanks in the north. And that sort of mind game, asking those questions, can really slow down an offense like that.
Guerrilla tactics, little skirmishes, not really putting yourself in this place where you're going to get pinned at all.
Be a ghost.
Yep. Just get in, get out. All right. So that's going to tie it up. That means Aquatics now got 2 on the board versus top tiers. And with that one, we're going to be moving on to Ghost Town. Now, before, of course, we get into that, we want to talk a little bit more about what just happened. But right now, it's neck and neck for these teams. And I don't know which one's going to be able to stay focused for longer, because that's what I'm going to be watching for. Right now, top tier, based on what we heard last battle, that listening, they seem fairly comfortable with each other. However, they don't seem to have a great idea about where they're going, what the general plan is.
A tactical map like Murovanka, that is a problem.
Yes.
A map like Ghost Town, where you can just drive at your opponent and force a brawl. When you have talent players as talented as top tier have, they could make that work for them. Now, looking at damage here, the Sturv, Mr. Man, 4,600 damage, 2 kills, 108 fantasy points. Not bad at all.
Very good.
People, 3K, 2 kills, 80 fantasy points. Fixer, top damage dealer, 4. Top tier for the second time tonight, 3K, 61 fantasy points, like Hako doing what he can in that mouse. Second page, nothing too surprising. Delph having a really quiet night, just really not able to really establish himself.
Yep, 103B though, of all tanks, he'd really wish that he could have gotten some damage out, but not this time.
I mean, he was cap bait is the main thing. I was saying people forget about that Sturv. When it enters siege mode, especially if it has a camo net on it, that tank is near invisible, almost as invisible as, say, a T100. So sometimes you have to go play those roles and be the cap bait, and he was, and he got caught out and got punished for it.
Yeah, sometimes it does make me wonder a little bit, though, why other tactics might not be viable. We've seen blocking come into play before, but, well, we'll put that topic to rest for now. We'll return to it another time, because we're on to Ghost Town, one of the, well, the map that was designed for World of Tanks Esports.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the map that, with some feedback from those Russian players, devs were able to design something that had a lot of little tactical plays into it. It uses elevation very nicely, where we'll see a lot of these heavy tanks play around with 2 mice, T57, Type 5, 5As, and a Bat Chat on the side of Aquatic. Top tier, though, with 2 mouse, IS-7, 5As, 3 of them, and a single Bat Chat. They're on attack, bringing, I mean, slightly lighter lineup on the side of top tier. Aquatic, though, with the Type 5 and T57. Nice combination there. I know I'm starting to favor it more and more as I see it. That just derp cannon coming into play against really anything and making armor not a huge factor.
Look at this. Jojo Jackie going off by himself towards the north with that IS-7.
Possibly a little misinformation play. Try and get Jojo spotted. With that, maybe he pressures the 1 cap, and what that'll do is that'll bait the Type 5 from Marsh. Going to Marsh. That'll bait that Type 5 from Marsh and the 5A of Morphic. that there is some kind of cap pressure. Now, the important part is that JoJo gets himself spotted, assuming that's his plan, by the way. I'm assuming that's his plan. Right now, it looks like he's just kind of playing a little weird game. But the whole point of this, James, could be allow enough time to pass that you don't rush to cap too quickly, but just fast enough that everything from Aquatic should be in position, as opposed to something else. Because if JoJo pushes and they find out that this is a crazy, like, southwest push, that's where putting Joe Jackie on the 1 cap could actually blow up on in your faces, because then he's just out of the fight. But here we go. He's going to get a running start. So that says 1 cap pressure, create a distraction, make Aquatic think this is...
Now, this is risky, but it could work out. Now, notice there's no one here to punish JoJo as he gets on cap.
That's why waiting's important.
Yeah, but it also depends upon the response that Aquatic M60s come out with here. If they hit this with force, assuming that there's more tanks ready to protect him, they could find him alone and just take the overmatch if they recognize it. Now, it will be difficult, but they may do it because they haven't spotted anything. There's no tanks in the normal lanes. They may figure out what is up.
Yeah, but pay attention to the response from Aquatic. You're seeing Marsh move from a position that is ready for the tanks that are currently at the south of the top tier, and he's now shifting to try and fight Joe Jackie. With that, you're starting to see a lot of tanks. We're going to pull up the mini-map. These tanks are starting to move. Mice into the 2 cap, these guys around to screen possibly, and that's going to create a whole lot of mess on the backside of the cap. We'll have to see how this develops, though, in just the next few moments.
5A's pushing up, looking for their shots, and they're actually trying to play the diagonal there. Crossfire, and they find 5A. Well, actually, it's going to be a Type 5 getting the reset onto JoJo. But the 5A may get caught out for Aquatic M60s. Who's that over there? That's going to be, it looks like Giggles.
And there we go. Mice stacked up, ready to fight on the 2 cap as well. T57 out in the open.
Pupil
tries to take on Hawk.
Smiley Rage.
Yep.
The brawl breaks out, and now this is going to be where top tier really needs to step up and make the focus fire happen. JoJo's going to get in behind, put some shots into Pupil.
But JoJo may have gotten a little bit ahead of himself, and now Pupil, Big Cheese, and Marsh all have the opportunity to possibly focus on him. This is going to get messy from top tier. Pupil moves in on Joe Jackie, while everything else, Muriel, Fixer, Delth, and Lop all move in on the smaller group. They're going to leave Hako behind, which worries me now.
Trying to find the shots onto Morphic. Or Marsh, excuse me. Pupil takes another shot as Muriel comes around the corner in a fully loaded bat chat. We'll have to see if he can make that clip effective right now. He's going to find the shots onto that Type 5.
Nice focus fire. Muriel should be able to finish off Marsh. Just needs to make sure that connection happens.
Heat shells going up against that Japanese armor. Great angling there out of Marsh as he goes down. Morphic does take down Leptev in the back. Pupil picks up JoJo. 2 tanks left alive. Clever attempt from Aquatic M60s, or excuse me, from top tier, but not enough to really force them out of position.
We can both see where they were going with it, but parts of the execution were slightly off. So a little refinement could make a strat like this work. Aquatic, though, was able to respond appropriately.
The biggest problem was the spot where M60s moved to. The spot where they went...
Muriel.
Wow.
You can use your word right now.
Yeah, sorry.
You can use
I
your
was
word.
just blown back by the small air he got there. Now he's going to play in this little corner and get the shots.
You can say it. You're allowed to. Come on, James.
Nope, not this time, Randall. Can't do it. Anyways, what I was going to say was... Oh, let's see if he gets the tracking shot. Misses the first track shot.
That would have been hilarious.
And just trying to farm what fantasy damage he can. Gets another shot off. Goes down to Pupil. And Mr. Man TKS Pupil. And that is going to make it 3-2 in favor of Aquatic M60s.
Nice.
Now, as I was trying to say, the spot where Aquatic M60s responded to get the resets on that cap was not in a position where they could not defend that other cap, nor were they in a spot where they were vulnerable to that push that top tier moved forward from. Instead, it was top tier moving across that cap and M60s being, hey guys, they're right here, let's just turn and shoot them. And it was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
So they really needed to be a little bit more aggressive, play some different angles. The misdirection can work. You can put your opponent where you wanted them. The problem is in that courtyard where they were, they really didn't have an upper hand. They got them there,
yeah,
but the way they went about attacking it just didn't work.
What if I put it this way? If you... On Ghost Town of all maps, it is not a map where you're going to be able to take your opponent from one cap to the other and back and forth. Not like Himmelsdorf, where it's very similar in the way that the two caps are separated by some common ground that the defending team should be able to grab a hold of early in the game. In this case, it's smaller than on Himmelsdorf. In Himmelsdorf, you can get away with a strat like that. Here, it's going to be a lot trickier, and you just saw why.
Yep, and Pupil, 3,500 damage, 3 kills, 80 fantasy points. Felix in the T57, 3,300, 77 fantasy points. Fixer, once again, top damage dealer for top tier, 3K. 55 fantasy points. Mr. Man doing what he can, 2,500, 57 fantasy points, and then it starts to drop off after there.
Looks like also, by the way, that Muriel from top tier calls a timeout after that one, clearly showing us that they needed a second to kind of recover and collect themselves before continuing on. That timeout is 15 seconds away. Nope, it is down now. So we'll be getting 60 seconds to battle in just a moment. But with that one, timeout. You call a timeout after you are down 3-2. It's Ghost Town. You need 2 more, 3 more really. So you have to win the next 3 in a row. You have to win the next one, Ghost Town, and you have to win both sides on Prokhorovka to get away with your 3 points.
I will say this, even with Rude Awakening, top tier have played 9 battles on Ghost Town, 22% win rate.
Yeah, so
not a strong map to begin with.
Exactly. And so with that, right now it's looking very aquatic AM60s sided.
Yeah, now if they can close out this next game on to Ghost Town, that's going to leave Prok as the last map. Now, that is a map that top tier have looked very comfortable on, but once again, you have that giant question mark. No Rude. Can they still execute the same way without him?
Yes, and now as tanks get readied up, there we go. 2 Mouse, Type 5, 3 5As, and a bad shot for our defenders top tier. No surprise. On attack, 2 Mouse, Type T57, a Type 5, 2 5As, and a Bat Chat. So nice little mix there of tanks that are heavy enough.
Felix really likes a T57. We've seen him play that a lot. And it is, to be fair, it is a great tank. My biggest thing with it is if you bring one, I feel like you should bring 2. One, the 1600, really? I've always been more of a fan of, if you're running autoloaders, bring 2 of them that you can stick together. Now, you can kind of run the Bat Chat with 57, but 2 T57s, that's 3,200 damage that you can pump out in 6 seconds if you time it together.
I see what you're going for, but I've always viewed that as a little bit heavy-handed, and if you're wanting to optimize, I guess I would say you don't do that, and it's a weird place to go with the argument, but hear me out. Take 2 T57s, right, and you put them in the same spot, they get in each other's way, they might, what happens if one of them dies? What happens if one of them disconnects? What happens if you're forced to split them? Now, if they're used to working together, Battle Buddy style, sure. Oh,
looks like we have a...
Looks like we might have a disconnect call. We'll have to see what's up with that. Possibly. Yep. It looks like it might be a disconnect call, so stand by, ladies and gentlemen. We will wait for confirmation from production. They have to wait for communication from the admin to confirm, and we may be finding a quick disconnect.
Can't tell what's going on.
It's all right. This is the kind of thing. So it takes a minute because they're communicating in game, and then there's a workflow to get the communication to us here in the production room. Sometimes it can take a moment to let that happen. Also, what you're seeing right now is with the cap fast from Aquatic, that'll confirm it. That confirms it. So James, you and I, let's all back out of the training room. That'll happen from time to time.
Yep, so just trying to get that battle over with fast.
Yep.
So we can restart everything. It looks like it was Jojo who was up in the top spinning around in circles. A common thing happens when you disconnect. Your tank just does the last thing that you were doing, which if it was driving forward and turning, it'll just keep doing that. Now, as we were saying,
I'm getting updates.
Getting updates.
Yes, I'm being told that Dare wins over 07 5-3. Not bad there. And then I was just informed that Eclipse beat F7 5-2. So, not too crazy on our offline matches. Everything about in order from what we were expecting in this earlier this season, except for today.
The 5-3 out of Dare 07. You know, 07, even though they got the loss there, very strong showing versus the second place team.
Good point.
You know, no one really favored them in that one, just like we didn't favor them in Eclipse. But going forward, as they play, you know, F7 again, they played this top tier team, which is struggling right now. AM60s have been a little bit lackluster this season. They, you know, if they can play that well, we should see them pick up some more wins, I think.
Yeah, we should. I tend to agree. It looks like we're just about to get back in. Everyone's readied up. And, yep, everyone's confirming, so we should be good to go. Apologies for the delays, guys.
Yep.
I know these
So,
happen.
while we're sitting here, let's finish that conversation about the double T57s. Where were you going with that?
So here's the thing with me. I like groups. I used to be a huge fan of, this will date my professional career, but the T32 combos, which would destroy IS-3s if appropriately used. T57s do something similar, but they lack a certain aspect of armor and durability. So where T57s working as a pair is okay, I feel like they're very delicate and easy to destroy if you approach them correctly. At that high skill level, it's a problem.
I agree with what you're saying, but the thing I like about it is when you have the 257s, you put them in together, you just have sure violence of action. You know,
yeah, you just come in there and you just blow something up. Sure.
6 seconds from time you fire your first shot to the time you fire your last shot. It's 3,200 damage of heat shells, and if you can get them at close range, that's anything in the game dead. That is a mouse dead.
Yeah, but you should be able to get enough guns on a target in order to focus fire it with consistent fire tanks that autoloaders are ultimately kind of a flourish.
But that also comes down to the map and how they set up on a map like Ghost Town. If you can create the battle to favor your 57s where you can get them in, 2 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 where they're not that vulnerable, you can really make it a powerful combo. Now, my problem, the way I brought this up with just one, is it's only 1,600 damage it pumps out, and that's going to rely on everyone else to finish him off, as opposed to just being able to delete that tank right then and there. That's a little bit longer for, say, a teammate to simp for that tank that you put that 1,600 damage into, time for them to return fire, time for your other tanks to miss a lot of shots and not kill him and for him to get away.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of little things why I think it's better to just have 2 if you're going to bring any at all, is my argument there, I guess.
Well, you guys let us know what you think on Twitter at WGLNA using the hashtag WGLNA. As we look at the lineups, they are exactly the same because they don't change when a disconnect happens. So that's 2 mouse, type 5 heavy, T57, 2 5As, and a bat chat for aquatic, and 2 mouse, type 5, 3 5As, and a bat chat for top tier. Opening moves. Hey ho, look at Smuril on an opening scout run. Exactly opposite of Mr. Man. And like ships in the night, they will miss each other.
Yeah, and Muriel just barely misses the entire team of aquatic M60s with that scout run.
Yep. What's beautiful about very quick scout runs is, unfortunately, sometimes that's going to happen. There's advantages. Muriel can kind of hide himself in the back lines. In fact, if he was clever enough about this whole route and knew enough about Aquatic's general plan, he might even be able to slip totally into their backfield, where he could be a huge nuisance. Just not this time.
As you guys just saw, tweeted us. We'll put them up on the broadcast, provided it's not anything too crazy, but memes are always welcome. So get involved, guys. Get out there. Twitter's a thing for a reason. We love to hear your voice.
Let's read your words.
Read your words, hear your voice. You meant what I know.
Oh gosh. And if you have the new upgrade on the characters, guys, don't just go. 140 is like all I can handle. Like, I'm not used to that yet.
The new 240 character limit?
It's a lot, man. Like there's some huge tweets. They're like getting really long, and people are still chaining them. I really need to follow some different people.
Aquatic M60 is just pushing across the cap here, and they might find the isolation onto Akako, who's taking a lot of damage. He's down to a 1-shot.
Giggles should have the kill shot. There he goes. There's a free kill. Almost, very little
And
lost.
now the response is going to come out of top tier. They're trying to push around as cap pressure is on. 18 seconds on the cap. They need to find the resets quickly.
They should be able to do this. Delth moves out to look for cap pressure while Fixer reloaded.
Good focus fire on to Marsh, opening up multiple angles here for top tier. They need to really focus out tanks though, and it looks like M60s are just going to push forward onto Delth. These 5As need to make sure they get involved and keep focusing these tanks out. Mice sharing HP, Leptev having to back up as the tanks for Aquatic M60s come around in the north as well. And this is just total chaos, but just no focus fire out of top tier. They have M60s where they want them, but it's going to be M60s that take down Delth, that Type 5.
And this looks like it might start tipping the scales right now. The mouse combo Pupil and Big Cheese is doing a great job right now. And just now, top tier has brought in the 3 5As in support. It took a little while, and because of that, I don't know if top tier is going to be able to find their way back into this fight. Loptev's almost dead. One more will finish him. Giggles gets it again, and that's probably going to be it. People gets to move forward. Felix has gotten to unload.
Felix making the T-57 work this game. Top tier, well, the response was decent. Their focus fire was poor. They never really got all their guns onto the same target. They did what they had to open up the multiple angles to make sure they got the resets. But after they got those resets, that second plan where they needed to get all their guns together to focus fire to take guns out of the fight just never materialized.
Oh, come on, Felix. Even wins with style points. Oh, goodness.
And that is going to be a clean sweep for Aquatic M60s as they make this series 4-2.
One more, and that's going to do it as we move on to Proc. So with that, top tier needed momentum, and Aquatic has it. So Aquatic should be able to close this one out. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that last one. I think you summed it up. I don't think there's much more than the focus fire from top tier. Wasn't quite there.
We talk a lot about the strategy and a lot of different stuff now that can win or lose teams a game, but sometimes it's just individual plays. It's making your shots count, maybe a little bit of RNG thrown in there.
It's making that focus fire mean something, because what we didn't see was we didn't see a single tank die on the other side. Nothing went down for Aquatic. No tanks died.
But if you notice, as the battle goes out, a lot of low HP tanks, which can be one of two things. It can be one, that M60s just hid their HP really well. They cycled tanks, they moved tanks around, which is great.
They were doing that, but they weren't doing it so well that top tier should not have been able to get
Look at how many one-shot tanks are alive on their team. That's 5 of 7 are one-shots right now.
And that shouldn't be allowed. That's something that every team here in this league is capable of dealing with. So when you don't see that happening, that's where top tier's just way too behind. They're not on tempo.
Yep, and Pupil having a very strong match tonight. Almost 4K, 1 kill, 82 fantasy points. JoJo also 2,800. Giggles 2,800. Smiley, Rage, and Fixer both doing what they can. Fixer still having a strong match. Second page, Akako and Murillo both getting caught out. Two of their stronger fantasy players along with Delph, but tonight so far not really able to put up the points. Rip my fantasy team.
Yep. We have very similar fantasy teams today.
Yep.
I think you may have changed. Did you change anything?
I changed a couple.
Okay, so he
I still have Murillo and Akako in this match, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I have Mr. Man, though, so...
I have Mr. Man, too. We both got him. Yeah, he'll do fine. Now, timer's going down. We've got now top tier defending on Proc, a map which, while they've performed well in the past, top tier could tie up the series if they win 2 in a row here, which would...
force overtime, which is back on the ghost town.
Okay, yeah.
It is a long road for top tier, and right now your prediction earlier on is supposed to come in right.
Yeah, I got to be honest, I wasn't too confident in that prediction. It was very much based on the fact that Rude was not here today, and that Aquatic had been having a rough time, and I was hoping that they might also improve a little bit more noticeably than top tier does without Rude awakening present. So
imagine an airport. You have a lot of planes coming in and out, having to take off, moving around the ground, and their traffic control is just gone all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's not there. That's exactly what top tier are like right now.
A lot less at stake, you could say. But
similar principle.
You've raised the stakes, though.
And opening play is coming out here for both teams. Smiley Rage moving towards the middle ridge in that T100. No light tank for Aquatic M60s, going with the Batchat lineup.
Smiley's going to go for his opening run. Goes for a nice west side. Dips into the mid bowl after spotting Pupil, Cheese, and Felix. From here, he's going to try to get out. It's important to do it quickly because Batchats, you should know, are going to be loaded in 3, 2, 1. Although a few of them are loaded sooner because of rations, but whatever.
The Rage is still spotted right now. Now he's unlit.
Yeah.
But they have an idea that he's over here on this one line as Marsh just going to keep driving forward.
But look at the approaching positions. Normally, you would see 5As, IS-7s from the defending side a little bit farther to the east, but notice how much to the west that they are. And this will actually be a tell to Aquatic if they're paying attention. If they see what's going on, they'll understand, and I think they do, based on the minimap, that the number 2 cap is left wide open.
Yeah, if top tier make this play right now, if they get their tanks down into the back here, they're going to have shots onto the back of the heavy tanks, and the heavy tanks pressure at the same time. That's these tanks isolated, and these two are out of the fight and not really able to do anything if they can recognize it quick enough.
And here comes the little Batchat light tank hit squad as they move south. At the exact same time, good call, Morphic is moving out to the east to avoid this push. Delph and Muriel are spotted, and that might prompt a counter push. The appropriate response from Aquatic right now is to push up and over and isolate.
But pay attention to these bat chats. They get up on this ridge. They can still rifle off a lot of shots. They can catch Marsh off, and this can work for top tier.
You absolutely can. The important part for Aquatic is to deal with this, face the same problem, and just deal with it. Okay, looks like focus onto Delth right now, as he'll be forced to back off with one shell. He's able to actually make his play work completely. And with that, right now, hit points are way in favor of top tier. So Aquatic's response not appropriate. See where Felix is right now, James? Felix did the right thing. This is exactly what I wanted to see when you see that west side push, because you need to get those guns in an irrelevant position.
Aquatic tried to do the same thing, but they did it one late and on the opposite side of the map. So because it was so delayed, it was them that bled their HP first, them that had their tanks caught out. Top tier kept their tanks moving. They got onto the other side of the ridge, and they created their own isolations. They didn't stay on the north end where the bat chats that got in behind could get those shots. Now look at the thing here, though. Cap, 15 seconds on the cap. They need to find some resets
as best he can, but
doing what they can. 10 seconds. There comes one reset. That should be it. This should be top tier able to clean this up. Top tier making Prokhorovka their playground.
Yep. Although they know that one more win will set Aquatic in victory. So, with this, I mean, last hurrah, or is it a comeback? That's the big question for me.
As decisive as that was, if they can play like that again and really catch Aquatic AM60s off guard, I think they can do that. This seems to be a map that top tier just are really solid on, with or without root.
I think there's, I think pretty clearly though that Aquatic made a mistake. There's an answer to that play when they found out what was going on. And they had spotting more than 20 seconds before shots were fired from the southwest. So they knew what was coming. They understood that there were tanks moving to create a crossfire. And the response was not there. Felix went over the hill to try and create the isolations. The other 5As, everyone else did not. And that's what needs to happen. If that had not had that happened, different story for Aquatic. They may have been able to hold on. They may have been able to even fast cap. The possibilities are endless. But because they didn't, because they kind of got split up, because there was a lot of chaos there, Aquatic is not able to keep this one together. And that's the difference between top tier and Aquatic here that I'm noticing. You're noticing one team have the response ready to go, or the right plan, the right action, whatever it is, and they present that question to their opponent. In this case, top tier. And Aquatic did not have the answer ready to go, not quickly enough.
Yep, Delph having a nice game there in the bat chat, 3,200, getting 2 clips off, 93 fantasy points. Akako, 2,600, but 4 kills. Not bad at all. 83 fantasy points, making up for that last game he had on Ghost Town. Leptev, 2,600. Fixer having another strong performance, 2,400. And then second page drops off pretty heavily after there. Mr. Man not really able to get into the fight. And
notice the 3 bottom damage dealers. It's an IS-7, an IS-7, and a 5A. The tanks that were not able to shift around in position for Aquatic. Yep. Because of that, they died before they did.
Now, the other key thing to note there was that one-line play out of top tier. It was a little bit risky, because if you do just the basic math, regardless of where they're fighting, you have 2 bat jets and a T100 for the side of top tier.
3 tanks.
And then you have 3 bat jets for Aquatic M60s. And at no point ever did they spot the bat jets on that 8 line. They never saw them.
On the 8 line.
Yeah, they never saw them on their side. They knew there was 1 bat jet in the south, but they didn't see all of them. So that push, you have to remember, that would have been a blind push with 3 tanks. We'll get back to that in a second as the lineups come in. Top tier, 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, 3 5As, bat chat, and a T100. M60s, 2 IS-7s, a 5A, an STRV, and 3 bat chats. Now my point is this, is because top tier was the one dictating plays, the only reason they could make that work, even if all 3 bat chats were still down on that bottom 1 line, they would have had the 5As and the IS-7s on the top of the ridge where they could have shot from the mid to shoot those bat chats and focus them out together. So they would have had more guns in the fight, where the tanks from Aquatic M60s would have been on the low side of that hill, where they really wouldn't be able to get any shots.
And thanks for the tweets, and thank you, Mad Mainer.
We are glad you enjoy this show. Now, everyone,
send me your weather.
Memes, guys, memes, tweets. We appreciate
all right, Smiley going out with an opening scout run, takes 385 for Mr. Man in the back, as he will spot IS-7, IS-7, and a 5A. He will also, no, wait, that's Muriel, I believe, spotting Felix, and they'll trade. Muriel did 1-for-1 right there, nothing huge yet. And some cover fire coming in from Mr. Man to destroy a few buildings. Giggles also lit, so a lot of intel right here on Aquatic for top tier. Top tier will need to figure out their response. It looks like they're starting to formulate that. Here comes the push. 5As moving up together, IS-7s moving up together. Lop deciding to break off, moves west to deal with the 3-on-3 kind of press all around the tracks. Jojo Jackie to make it an overmatch. Now Kako looks like he wants to go up and over, saying...
And the rest of the team's going with them. They have this overmatch. They know that there's those tanks in the low ground, so they're taking the overmatch on the other side, and they are spreading out. They need to do this quickly and effectively, though, especially because they're already down several thousand HP. That STRV in the backfield, getting off the shots he can. Pupil is being focused out, and he is ammo racked. Should be Marsh focused down after they finally pick up Pupil. HP's still in favor of Aquatic M60s, but their guns are together. They have the Batchats out of the fight. Top tier can still do this.
Look at this, Batchat's moving in. Felix joining the fray, and with that, a Batchat might be able to tip the scales and turn this into the favor of Aquatic M60s. With that, they'll be able to clear this one up. But the question is, will they? Nice play by Fixer to use to just smash a tank.
Felix is being focused out. He gets taken down. They're down on HP, but guns are still equal at this point, even as Delph does go down. Mr. Man just putting up the damage he can. Big Cheese being the next one focused out.
Another Batchat comes in. Hey, Giggles, how you doing? Giggles joins the fight now to go up against Jojo Jackie. And...
Smiley Rage doing what he can. Jojo
Big Cheese
does pick up the kill onto Big Cheese.
It's 3v3. Just note that. Hit points may be in favor of Aquatic. Now 2v3. And Muriel finds Morphic. Morphic has plenty of shells left. He'll be able to take on Muriel by himself.
Muriel doing what he can to get damage, but that should do it. That should be Aquatic M60s picking up a win versus Top Tier. Top Tier went for it. They went up and over, and focus fire just not quite there. People bounced a few shots that he probably shouldn't have.
Smiley catches one right in his turret. Mr. Man making that connect. Again, connect.
And you cannot blindly push into an STRV like that and not have a plan for it. He fired off so many shots and got so much damage. He really bled those heavy tanks.
I think they were banking. Top Tier was banking on the fact that Mr. Man was in the far east, but the problem with that is when you have only one Sturv, when you have only one of those, generally you're not going to place it all the way in the east. Generally it'll be on those tracks. If there were two of them, it would have been an easier strat to read, but I think Top Tier took a risk and it just didn't pay off. They were a little hobbled getting into that fight.
I liked their initial setup. The initial setup with the I-7s holding that middle crossroads, when they spotted those Batchats in the low ground, they could have made that play work down the 7 line and isolate those Batchats in the low ground because they still had mid control. What happens is a lot of teams, they spot the Batchats and they try to push straight up and over into the Batchats. They get sucked in the low ground, and then the other team takes the mid control and starts shooting them in the rear. And if they had held the middle crossroads, made one tank up on the hill to cover, and then pushed the rest of the tanks into the low ground, into the river, an isolation that they knew they had, they could have made that work for them. But once they spotted the Batchats,
shot out.
Mr. Man picks up the kill.
So he puts the last 3 shells in the coffin.
Yep.
And that's it.
But anyways, my point is simple, is they went for the opposite play of what I was talking about, which was dump over in the middle. They knew the Batchats were down and out in the low ground, and so they tried to go for the easier overmatch. The problem was Sturv was in a prime position to farm damage, and farm he did.
Yep, on top of that, the tanks from Top Tier were hobbled. They were out of position, they were strung out. There were only 3 of, like, 1 tank goes over, then 2 go over, and then a 3rd one comes over, but he doesn't actually engage directly like the rest. He actually moves out to the flank, but he's late to the party, so moving out to the flank really isn't as effective. It actually wastes a huge amount of time that you could have been using in order to actually shoot at the badman.
And actually, in this case, the better position probably would have been to be together up against the train tracks, because the Sturv would have had harder shots. Instead of pushing out, he was out into the open where the Sturv had clean shots.
The problem with that is the Batchats can actually get shots in there, so maybe, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying it's tricky, it's tricky.
I see where you're coming from. It's, it's half, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yes. Just a very difficult thing to deal with. When you push over like that on proc, you need everything in position. But looking at this match overall, it's been a back and forth. Strong plays, weak responses.
Yep. And I do have to say, your early prediction of 5-3 in favor of Aquatic M60s is correct. So, got one right. A lot of little things here for Top Tier. Overall, a lot of good-looking strats, a lot of the right ideas, but you can tell the lack of Rude Awakening really did hurt them.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. And you can see actually where both teams made huge mistakes today. They're going to be kicking themselves. They're all completely aware of what they did, and they're all probably recognize it immediately. We're of course just sitting there watching them do it.
Yep, and Mr. Man, 4K damage, 2 kills, almost 100 fantasy points. Jojo continuing to have a strong match day despite losing. Another 2,400, 2 kills, 64 fantasy points. Nothing too surprising. Muriel, 1,900, 51 fantasy points. Second page, Kako, the one that pushed over in the middle. Without everyone else, only getting 22 fantasy points. Delph 1200. Smiley Ridge 1700. And that Light Tank doing what we can on the match. Fixer Reloaded 426. Pupil 470. Mr. Man 415. Big Cheese. Morphic, Felix, Lubtev, all doing 300 plus. Pretty solid out of them.
Although, look, Muriel actually puts up some decent numbers for the night, and so does Delph.
Yeah, and even Akako almost 300. That's not bad considering they were out of the fight a lot of that game. So still salvaged it for a lot of you people that stack top tier like me. It should be enough to not affect us too badly in the fantasy standings.
Yep, and I'm being told that we may have an interview with our winner coming up here shortly from Aquatic M60s. That should be Mr. Man to join us in just a moment.
Yeah, overall, though, it was a pretty good sight.
Mr. Man, welcome back to the broadcast. Thank you for proving me right. And
I'm glad I can.
How was that for you guys? Because it was a little crazy over here. Like, how was that for you? Battle 1 to, I guess, we'll start off early. Let's start off with that. You guys went 1-1 on Ruinberg. What?
When we were on defense, we kind of got wrecked, honestly. Like, I don't know how it looked from your guys' point of view, but they were just dragging us around the map and pretty much farming us the whole time. When we were on our attack, they gave us the Delta Village pretty much for free, and we were able to take advantage of that pretty easily. So
I started trying to. I felt like this match could have been characterized by a really cool play, and the follow-up to that cool play was the wrong answer. Did you feel like that was consistent when you guys won or lost?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how a lot of the rounds went.
Yeah, because it seemed like you guys either had the answer or you were completely lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can see it a little bit, but it went both ways. I felt like both of you guys were about on that page, and you guys came out ahead, of course, at the end. You said it was about momentum before we got into the match. What do you have to say about that momentum and how it played into this match?
I think in every match for us it does. Once we got about our third victory, we're all feeling really good and we're ready to just finish it up, and we're playing strong at that point. So.
All right, last question for you, Mr. Man. Now that the first match of the second round robin is done, you got 6 more matches along with F7 and Eclipse up next. How are you guys feeling as a team going forward for the rest of the season? Not just the next match, but where are you guys at? You guys feel like you're getting to where you want to be overall? You still struggling? Where are you at?
I feel like we're still struggling a little bit. I think this win will definitely help us with boost our confidence again a little bit. And like I said, we still need to. We still have some problems that we need to work out, and we're systematically fixing as many as we can. So.
Okay, well, good to see. I mean, obviously improved a good bit. Not quite sinking to the bottom of the lake yet. Any final thoughts for your fans out there, Mr. Man?
Yeah, big thanks to all my fans and everyone who puts me on their team, and that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations once again on the win.
Thank you.
Always good to hear from Mr. Man.
Yep.